So EASA has just dropped a critical airworthiness directive for a specific fleet of Airbus A330s. And this isn't just some routine update, you know? It actually addresses a pretty significant flight safety risk. So let's break down exactly what's going on, which aircraft are affected, and what every operator needs to do to stay safe and compliant.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll get a quick, big-picture overview of the directive. Then, we'll dive deep into the unsafe condition that started all this, see which specific planes are on the list, and lay out the exact actions required. And finally, we'll look at the impact on operations, and wrap it all up with the key takeaways.
Okay, let's kick things off with the basics.
So here's the deal. This is EASA Airworthiness Directive 2025-0286. It was issued in mid-December 2025, and it becomes effective on December 31st. Now, that effective date is absolutely crucial. It's the moment the clock officially starts ticking for all the required action.
Okay, so what's the actual technical problem that got us here? What went wrong?
Well, the root of the problem is a loss of data synchronization in the communication system. Basically, the radio management panels, the RMPs, are losing their connection to the audio management unit, or AMU. And this isn't some tiny glitch. Think of it as the brain of the aircraft's comm system suddenly getting confused.
A data sync issue might not sound that scary, right? But what happens if this isn't fixed? Well, let's look at the domino effect it could have in the air.
And the consequences are, frankly, severe. We're not talking about just some static on the radio. This failure could lead to a total loss of communications. Your transponder could just go dark. And get this, it could even cause uncommanded changes to the TCAS, your collision avoidance system. On top of all that, you could lose your standby navigation. This is a massive, massive threat to flight safety.
So, which aircraft are we actually talking about here?
This isn't a broad directive. It's highly specific, targeting a fleet of just 39 Airbus A330-941s.
And this is the list. Operators need to pull their records and check them against these exact manufacturer serial numbers. If your aircraft's MSN is on this list, this directive is mandatory for you. It's that simple. No wiggle room.
Okay, so we know the problem and who it affects. Now for the really crucial part. What do you actually have to do to comply?
So EASA has laid out a two-step plan. First, there are some immediate temporary actions to manage the risk. This means updating your aircraft flight manual, the AFM, and your minimum equipment list, the MEL. But that's just step one. The second and final stage is the terminating action, a permanent modification to the aircraft that gets rid of this problem for good. And this table here breaks it all down for you. That first action, amending the AFM and MEL, has to be done super quick, early in 2025. Then, the big one, the modification. That's all detailed in the service bulletin. You've got 12 months from the 80's effective date to get that done. And trust me, these deadlines are set in stone.
Now here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Once you've completed that permanent modification, you can officially remove those temporary AFM and MEL procedures. Finishing the service bulletin is the end game here. It lets you get that aircraft back to business as usual.
Okay, so let's get real about what all of this means for your day-to-day operations.
The payoff for doing this work is crystal clear. Before, you're flying with this hidden risk of a total communication and navigation failure. But after you embody this Airbus modification, Mod 211442, that risk is gone, completely eliminated. This is the permanent fix that makes the entire system stable and safe again.
For anyone in management, listen up, because the impacts are pretty big. First, if you don't comply, you're looking at a real risk of having that aircraft grounded. Second, this isn't a quick fix. It's going to require planned downtime. And third, to pull this off, you absolutely need tight coordination between all your teams. We're talking camo, planning, maintenance, and procurement. Everyone has to be on the same page.
All right, let's bring it all home and recap the most important things you need to remember.
So, to boil it all down, it's about the who, what, and when. The who? Operators of those 39 specific A330-941s. The what? You've got a two-part job. Implement temporary procedures, then get that permanent modification done. And the when? You've got to hit those strict deadlines in 2025 and 2026. No excuses.
And just in case there was any doubt about how serious this is, the regulation is black and white. You cannot operate an aircraft with an AD unless you are following the requirements of that AD, period. Compliance is not optional.
So the bottom line is, operators have to get their teams coordinated to get this done on time.
And please remember, while we've broken it down for you here, this explainer is just a guide. The official EASA AD and the Airbus Service Bulletin are the only documents that matter. You've got to follow them to the letter.
Subscribe to Aeropoda YouTube channel.